Okay, we're going to speak a bit about 3D documentation. And my name is Ingemar Lundgren, and I am a part owner of a company called Ocean Discovery. And we do something we call marine archaeology support, because we are not marine archaeologists, but we have some other specific knowledge that is useful to marine archaeology that I will be describing later on here. We also do 3D documentation and visualizations and reconstructions, 3D reconstructions and digital restoration. So we're doing a little bit what Max is doing, but digitally. And we also do film production. So if you saw the Mars documentary on Vetenskapens Värld, we did the underwater filming for that documentary, and we also have been involved in many other documentary film projects. Our partners, Maris mostly. For some reason, we work a lot with Johan Ronneby here in different projects, both the Mars project and the Gribshunden. And perhaps we're most known for finding the shipwreck Mars, really. I'm sure you all know what that is. It was sank in 1564 and we found it in 2011. And after that, this whole thing started, really, because we had to come up with a way how to show how fantastic this wreck site is to the general public. And as you know, as a diver, you can see 1 or 2 meters. It's very hard to show how fantastic this site is. So we had to come up with some idea how to show this to the public. And we did progress, and we got the grant from National Geographic for developing this technique that we call non-intrusive marine archaeology, and I will describe it later what it is. And also from Waite Institute in America. And we also cooperate with MMT, which is a marine survey company. They do acoustic 3D, you could say. We are working with light, with digital cameras. They are working with acoustics. And if you can merge these two technologies together, you can get something really great. And that's a bit off topic. And then deep sea production, we also cooperate with. They were doing the Mars documentary, the land-based filming. So, as I said, we found this marvelous shipwreck Mars. It's a huge wreck site. It's a hull site that's, what's left of it now, it's probably 30 meters long with gun ports, and then the starboard side is broken up in millions of pieces, and it's a puzzle. You know, you can't really comprehend what you're seeing, really. You can't get the big picture as a diver. Certainly not me, because I'm not a marine archaeologist. I'm just an interested amateur diver or so. So we wanted to find a way of showing this to the public, and also finding a tool for the scientists. Because this site is also very deep, so the marine archaeologists have difficulties visiting this site. So we came up with a solution is photogrammetry, and that is 3D scanning of a wreck site. I think most of you by now know a little bit about it, but what it is really is photogrammetry. Photogram means photograph, and metry means measuring. Photogrammetry, measuring in pictures. And if you know the distance, if you know the scale of a picture, you can measure distances between 2 points. The camera stores something called EXIF data in the picture in the modern digital camera that tells what kind of lens you're using, and it uses all these informations to determine the scale, and then you can measure points in in the picture. You don't have to understand this. I don't understand this fully either. It's up to the software. I take the pictures in a certain way and then the software figures it out. It's actually quite magical. The software converts these points into 3D points. It's X, Y, Z, so it's 3 axes. It's 3D axis. And it makes a point cloud. After we have the point cloud, we can then make it into a mesh. And a mesh is when the points are connected with lines. And then you can dress that mesh with images. We will see examples later. Don't worry if you don't understand this. It's not important to understand how it's done. I'm just giving a brief overview. There's two different kinds of photogrammetry, really. There's a third kind, stereographic photogrammetry. It's not used that much anymore. Aerial photogrammetry is probably the most common. It's a camera pointing straight down from an airplane or a drone, and you mostly fly it about 150 meters altitude. And lantmäteriet, map for map making and things like this is used for topographical maps. Also digital elevation maps, and that's red is higher up, blue is lower down. Digital elevation maps. So this could be used underwater as well, but there's another kind of photogrammetry. It's called closed range photogrammetry. And it's a bit the same way, but instead of taking one picture straight down and one picture straight down, we take pictures from all angles. If I want to make a 3D model of this computer here, I would take one picture here and one there and go around it. Then I go to a higher altitude and take more pictures. I go to this altitude, take more pictures. Then you get a full 3D model. In aerial photogrammetry, you only get the part 3D effect because you're taking them straight down. This is much more processing demanding, and it takes a lot more pictures to do it. So it's much more difficult to do this. And this is the technique we are using. And we are adopting this for being used underwater. And that's what's new here. Photogrammetry has been used for many years. So this is an example how you would go about making a 3D model of this ball here. You would go in all directions. And then you would change height as well and take from a higher angle. Areas of use: archaeology, architecture, environmental studies. You could take coral reef, for example, make a 3D model out of it, come back 5 years later, make another 3D model, and you see environmental changes. You can also do this on wreck sites to survey environmental decay on the biological. I mean, the wreck is decaying, or you could find traces that someone have actually stolen stuff from the wreck. The police is very interested in that feature, actually, in that aspect. Also for forensics. Geology, graphics for games and film. Most games you see today and films, they're using photogrammetry a lot for building up environments. Reconstructions and visualizations. And also, if you have a good 3D model, you can make it 3D printable as well. This is an example of a 3D model. It looks like the real thing, right? This is a 12-pound Canon from Mars. And it was salvaged in 4 pieces. This and this. And you see the barrel was broken off. And this is the gun carriage. And then there's also the wheels here, but when I did this rendering, I hadn't finished the wheels, but now I have, but I don't have a new picture. So it came up in parts, of course, and digitally I can put this together, which can be kind of useful, because I can actually see, does this fit the gun carriage? I can find stuff out like that. And for someone visiting a museum, when they're looking down in Västervik's museum, you should go there and visit this very nice museum, and they are conserving this cannon in a pool of water, and you can go up on a stage and look down, and you see this cannon down there. But it's laying, the gun carriage is separate and all the gun barrels separate, so it's kind of hard to see the context. And here I can put it together digitally. I can actually calculate weights and accurate measurements. Someone here is actually working with this. I talked to, it's similar things are used in other fields as well. And here are some close-up images. So it's based on real photographs. So this is actually just as real as a video film or a photograph. It's not an artist's impression or anything. It's the real thing. And here is the same cannon that I have digitally restored. You see that? And you compare to that. So now I repaired it. You can see here it's, I don't know the English word, I won't even try, but there's some metal things holding it together there. So this is a way of using this technology as well. And now the dolphins here is a bit of a guesswork, because they are so encrusted that I can't really see what they are. I can see the main features, that it is some kind of sea monster biting down. But this I've actually sculpted by hand, so this is more of an artist impression. So it's like working in digital clay with a pen, a computer pen. I can work and change the clay, and then I paint it, and it comes out like this. Take some practice.
Well done.
This is a photo mosaic of the Mars ships. It's 2D, but still fantastic. You can see the entire wreck site, yeah? But we want to go further than that. So we picked out this area of interest. There's some cannons here, big 42-pounder, and so this is how we do it. We just take pictures, 20,000 of them. And here's this area, a rendering of how a 3D printed model would look like. And as you see, you can really, and here's the entire wreck site, the entire hull side. If we look at this again, the area here is not finished yet, so this is faked 3D. This is real 3D. So this is accurate. This is not accurate. I'm working on the other area. It took us 5,000 pictures to make this hull side. But the hull side is not that complicated because it's quite flat. When we come into this area, it's a nightmare. So it took 20,000 pictures, but I'm almost done with it. So it will be finished. So this area is faked, what you see here, but this is real.
It's much easier on Gribshunden, isn't it?
Yeah. Gribshunden is very easy. I'll do that in one day, guaranteed. As you can see, you get a full 3D image, and later on, when I'm more finished, I will do more camera angles, and you can study the shipwreck from all kinds of angles. That's the top side view of that area. This is another cool thing. Last year I was hired to do a 3D scan of a 2,000-year-old Roman wreck outside Lipari. It's near Sicily. So it's actually about 23 meters from this point to this point. Here you can see the measuring stick. It's about this big. And this is from the top side. You get a superb overview, right? The archaeologists, they are interested what kind of amphoras are in what places in the wreck for their research, and they get all the information they need here in one picture. Here's a 3D printed model of that for museum exhibitions. This is an Arado seaplane outside Karlskrona that we did a few weeks ago. Again, the visibility here was horrible. We saw, if I was swimming here, I saw to here. So imagine, this gives a very good overview of the wreck site. This is a top side view of it. They want to know, is this salvageable? Is it worth salvaging? And here you go, you don't have to say so much more. You can see for yourself the condition of it, the entire site.
It's a really good report.
Okay, thank you. And of course, this could be 3D printable. It's just send the file to a 3D printer and press go, and 6 hours later it will be done. Yeah, so again, this is photogrammetry. And it was in its cradle and had lots of ropes around it that I took off digitally, so it looks like it's lying free here. And the amount of detail you get is much better than still images. This is 236 megapixel images combined into one. So you can really see every little detail. And then you can do some fun things. What would it look like with a horn? That's how it would look like with horns. I could paint this in different colors. I can put it on a ship where it was placed. Do all kinds of visualizations for museum exhibitions. That's mostly what I'm interested in, to show the public this and do stuff for museum exhibitions. It's from Västervik's museum. I forgot to mention you as a partner. You're one of the most important partners. Sorry about that. But we have a project together where we are actually we're testing this technology on Bronze Age carvings. As you know, Bronze Age carvings are sometimes very difficult to detect. You see them better in certain angles of light and so on. And also, a lot of money is being spent on painting these things, these carvings. Yeah, so this is 3D photo scanning too. This made with a drone. And then I aimed the light so the light is very low. It's simulating near sunset, so you can see the carving very good. And this is obviously not Bronze Age, but it's just an example what you could do. Apps on the iPhone. You can go explore the sites, Bronze Age sites, and find these sites and rotate the 3D model in the telephone, make applications like that. So this is just a beginning of exploring what this technology could do. You see the level of detail there. And here I paint them digitally instead. It costs nothing. And then I change the light a bit. These are actually not, they don't look this obvious when you look at them with the eye. You see them much more clearly on the 3D video. And here you can see the effect the light has when you let the sunset come very quick. So, one of the main ideas with this technology is what we call non-intrusive marine archaeology that we are exploring. And that means you can 3D scan an object and 3D print it instead of salvaging it. Because it's very, very expensive to, not all the time, but for sometimes this can be a good option. Because many times you just can't find the funding to restore objects. So this could be an alternative to actually salvaging objects. And so that's one of the useful aspects of this. Another aspect could be when I'm done with the entire wreck site of the Mars, then I have this incredibly detailed model that you can put into one modern game engine and use a virtual reality headset and make a diving or a submarine simulator, and you can actually explore the wreck site just like, almost like it's real. And this technology is already out here. I had an Oculus Rift VR headset for over a year, a developer version, but the consumer version is coming out in about 6 months. So this technology is coming. So you will see a lot more of these things, and we are actually ahead of the game here in underwater 3D scanning, for sure. So that's just some of the possibilities with this technology. And yeah, let's go back to the PDF. I was coming into jewelry too. Do I still have 5 minutes? Yeah. Yeah, so this is Gribshunden, but it's the version with the horns, because I thought that looked much cooler. So we 3D printed this, and this is a special printer. It can only print this big, but it prints with super accuracy. Every little detail is there. So we printed this out, and then we make a mold out of that 3D print and wax models, so we can cast it in bronze. So it's in every little detail the real thing, but it's in scale, I don't know, 1 to 100 or something like that. Another application, so lots of stuff you can do with this. And as I said, you can also 3D print objects. Here's a 3D a cannon from the Mars, a 42-pound cannon. That's actually on the bottom of the sea. Sadly, we broke off one of the dolphins here, but I had to glue it back. So this is just a small piece of the Mars wreck site. This is a bigger piece. The same cannon that you see there is this one now. And here you see another cannon. You remember from the video rendering. This is the printed version of that. So in the end, we will print the entire wreck site. And we will make it big. Scale 1 to 10, hopefully 3-4 meters long. And then you can make a fantastic museum display out of this, because I imagine you can have like laser lights and you put this big model in the middle of the museum, and you can see exactly every little detail, and you press a button and a laser light illuminates a certain area, and up comes a hologram with someone speaking about that cannon, or just a video of it, but a hologram would be cooler. And then you press the next button and another light turns on and illuminates another part of it. So then you can explore this wreck site in a pedagogic way. And I mean, for archaeologists like Niklas, a ship construction nerd there, I would imagine you would like this as well, yeah? So I think it's useful both for exhibitions and science, and useful as toys or whatever. I mean, useful as jewelry. Lots of things you can do. Yep, that's about it.
Perfect, Ingemar. We can actually have some questions.
Do we have time to show the movie then?
Maybe we have to do that later,
Okay.
or tomorrow morning.
I'll take it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have some minutes for questions. So if there are some questions to Ingemar, let's.
So Ingemar, am I correct to assume that when you use this, like for example on the Griffen or on the Mars, when you have all the details together, then it would be possible in a computer program for an archaeologist to sort of turn the ship upway, and then take one piece and put it there because that's where it fits, because you can see it. Can you actually rebuild the ship? You know,
no.
Otherwise, because in the old days, people would sit and they would make small wooden ship buildings out of, you know.
Okay, and then move the pieces around.
Exactly, yeah. Can you do that?
That would be fantastic, but unfortunately not, because everything is kind of stuck together like a 3D print, really. But it could be done. Nah, it would be too much work.
We have to think about that.
That's what we want.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that would be something.
Knowing Ingemar, he will figure that out for us.
Yeah.
Is the software very, very costly?
No, not so much actually. The professional Agisoft Photoscan we use mostly, yeah. I've tried a lot of software, but Agisoft seems to be the best on underwater pictures. There are other softwares better for land use, but Agisoft is still the best. It costs about $5,000 for the professional version, I think, and $500 for educational version. If you're at the university, you can really get it cheap. And I'm actually planning to do training in these courses, so we'll see if that will come up later on, actually training archaeologists to use this technology, because it's very useful and very cost effective too, because all you need is an underwater camera, and that's not that expensive. And the results are so much better than any other acoustic technology. It's way, way better than multi-beam and side-scan sonar. But the drawback, of course, is that it's labor-intensive and it's not really usable for large areas. But then if you could use multi-beam data and combine that with this, then you can use this for a detailed studies, and then the big area you can build up with multi-beam data. And then we're actually working on that too with Jocke Holmlund in MMT. So he has actually done the whole debris area of the Mars site, which is huge, like a kilometer by a kilometer square or something. I could never do that with photogrammetry. It's impossible. But we can combine that with the photogrammetry and then end up with an even better result.
Thank you very much, Ingemar.
Thank you.